Have we reached a point where we need to accept that some of the movies from the 70s just don't stack up anymore?
You're gonna die up there.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Scott and I'm your host today and every other day as I take you through news and reviews in the world of horror. If like me you love horror movies, make sure you subscribe and you hit the notification bell so you know when I drop new videos, because I think you're going to like 90% of what's on this channel. And I say that before I say you're probably not going to like the things I have to say in this video, especially if like me you love The Exorcist. I adore The Exorcist from 1973. I think it is one of the foundations of modern horror. Every exorcism movie that has ever been made since 1973 took inspiration and took ideas from The Exorcist and delivered them in their own unique way, or maybe not, sometimes they copied. But The Exorcist is one of those pillars that built an entire subgenre of horror. So I rewatched it last night, and I noticed that it had started to crack. It started to show the signs of its age, and it made me a little bit sad, but it also made me curious as to what modern audiences think of The Exorcist. So I jumped onto the internet and I went and found some more recent reviews in the last 5 years. And if you look over time, there has been a trend where this had the highest of high scores, and over a period of time it has slowly dipped to now getting 4s and 5s and some even 2s and 3s out of 10, which was hard for me to read. But I read through some of the comments and some of the points that this newer, younger audience were making, and some of it on a rewatch is very, very valid. The practical effects in this movie have dated. They have aged. The makeup on Regan, as great as it looked when it came out and as great as it looked 20 years ago, it doesn't stack up today with what they can do with modern prosthetics. It looks fake. It looks like prosthetics. The same with the spider walk scene. The spider walk scene, I remember, terrified me, absolutely petrified me. This young girl coming down the stairs backwards now looks almost laughable, because you can see that her arms and legs are kind of going, but she's not even hitting all the steps, especially from the side angle. The levitation scene, you can see the wires and that they seem to be very prominent now. This has been upscaled into 4K Ultra HD, and honestly, like, from a visual standpoint, this does not hold the same weight that it once did. From a story standpoint, this movie is still fabulous. I absolutely adore this movie, and I don't want anyone to think that I am bashing on The Exorcist, because I'm simply not. The story of the young girl possessed, with the priests coming to attempt to save her, and the father who's going through so much of his own trauma, having lost his own mother, sacrificing himself to save the young girl, I think is outstanding. I think the casting in this is impeccable, and I think the performances are generational performances for pretty much every cast member. Everything they'd done on screen was perfect, and it is purely a visual thing, but movie is a visual media. And for me to sit back and watch a movie that I love and I adore and see flaws and faults that I've never seen before was a really hard thing to do. And it got me wondering how many other movies from the 70s have now dated and gone through this same decline in sort of approval rating from horror fans, especially more modern ones. So I went and had a look, and I picked two of the biggest, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween, both of which follow the same trend as The Exorcist, with this dipping in approval amongst horror fans. And it raised a question for me. At what point do movies that are deemed beloved classics and iconic movies by people of my age, things like The Exorcist, things like Halloween, things like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, at what point do they no longer be beloved classics? The next generation that are coming through clearly don't love these in the way that we do. So does that mean in 10 years' time these movies will slowly be forgotten about, and then by the time that I'm gone and I've passed away, will these movies be completely lost to history? And it made me think just how important remakes are. And it's something I talk about a lot. I've got a show with Angel where all we do is talk about remakes, but this really hit home why remakes are important. So if they had a modern day remake of one of these movies, I know they had The Exorcist Believer, It's probably not the best example here, but I'm going to use it anyway. So they've done The Exorcist Believer, and that probably led a huge amount of people who hadn't seen The Exorcist to go and see it. And whether they loved it or they hated it, it kept that media alive. And we've got another movie coming later next year, another Exorcist movie, and that again is going to draw loads of people back to the original and keep that media alive. And if they didn't do that, if they didn't remake it, it would literally slip into obscurity. And I know you're thinking, no, that's not true. But when you think of movies from the 70s, horror movies in particular, you can probably name 20. When you think of the 60s, you can probably name 10. The 50s, you can probably name 2. Do you see where I'm going? As time goes on, all of these movies slowly get forgotten, and it's a few select ones that go through. And I worry that these classic movies that I adored, like The Exorcist, that are now showing signs of cracking, if they're not continuously remade for a new audience, they will be forgotten forever. But I'm really interested to know what you think on this, whether you think The Exorcist has started to crack and it has started to show signs of weakness, whether you think that remakes are important like I do, or if you're one of the, no, we don't need a remake, we've got the original. Because if you are, like, great, I get it, you've got the original, but modern audiences don't like the original, and by the time you're gone, the original you love and adore will probably be forgotten. But let me know in the comments, and have a wonderful week. And I'm really sorry, I've done another downer video. I'm going to have to do an upbeat one next time. So next video is going to be really upbeat and really cheery, and until then, see you soon.